All right, we're back. No Look Podcast. Your boy Yo Soy, the man, goddamn. D, got a special episode going on today. There's some beef, if you will, internally with the Insane Games TV channel, which, you and I, we stay in our own lane. We do our sports thing, we bullshit each other. We have fun. We don't ever call out or, put down our colleagues on the in-game. Yeah, right? We don't ever put down our colleagues on the Insane Games TV channel, but came to our attention that Danny NASCAR, I guess we'll call him, was talking some shit last week on stream. I mean, what do you make of this? Because he dragged both of our names through the mud.
Yeah, I mean, it was just egregious. It was uncalled for. I mean, honestly, we have the clip, right, that we could show.
Yeah, let's start with that.
Yeah, let's
dive into the clip.
That.
Let's dissect it a little bit so we can properly give you guys some context at home. Give a formal rebuttal. Let's do that. I'm gonna share the screen with you.
I mean, it's just the clip will show everything that you need to know of what happened. So.
All right, so this is live footage from last week's Danny NASCAR episode. I mean, you just gotta watch it, I almost want to mute. I'm gonna be laughing.
This song is ridiculous.
All right, we're back. Danny NASCAR. Mike, I was just watching the No Look podcast. I mean, they're on there. They're giving their NFL grades. I'm not even sure if they're qualified to talk about football. I mean, these guys never played in the NFL. I mean, if they want to talk about sex or something, I might listen to that, because for Pete's sake, Tyler just broke his dick from having sex too hard. I mean, oh, Mike. I know I'm talking about sex, but stop ramming me. Cheese and crackers. Anyways, as I was saying, half of the no-lookers had to get his balls looked at by medical professionals. I mean, these guys are animals. I wouldn't want to listen to them talk about sexual encounters. Just like these guys on the No Look podcast. They're not NFL athletes. I don't know if I trust their opinion on the matter. I mean, Austin, he says he's a Packers fan, but I don't even know if he knows what skin color Brett Favre is. I mean, he's been watching the Packers since late 2000, and what year was Aaron Rodgers drafted, Mike? I don't know. I'm not sure. I mean, Jeff Gordon, he wore number 24. Does that mean that's my favorite number? I'm not sure, Mike. I don't know. I might have to be a call-in listener, a guest caller. I'm not sure, Mike. I'm gonna have to talk to these boys. All right, so like I said, that was the live clip from last week's Danny NASCAR. Stop sharing screen with Tyler.
It's just appalling, the words that were said about us. I think we should have him on as a guest caller, if you will.
What do you say, a guest call-in listener?
Something like that.
No, okay, so how did this okay, so first off, now that, because I've been bottling this up for a while, right? I almost got into it on Thirsty Thursday last week. I held myself in check. First of all, Tyler, if you remember correctly, because I think half of the discussion was, I believe that Aaron Rodgers is going to retire. I don't think those words ever came out of my mouth. If I remember correctly, when we were getting into the conversation about Aaron Rodgers, I believe I said, I believe he will be a Packer. Now, I said, I think he will not play this season before playing for someone else. The words retire never came out of my mouth. I said he would not play football at all. That's not saying he's going to retire. We might have a Le'Veon Bell situation where he's not happy with the team, the organization, stuff that's going on. He could potentially sit out a season. That's what I was referring to. But for Dan to come out of here, not even a football fan, like, does he even know where Brett Favre went to college? What year he was drafted in? I mean, Tyler, I'm not just a fan, I'm an owner. For Pete's sake. I own a sharehold in the team. Went to Ole Miss.
Are you sure about that?
Pretty positive. No, wait, that was Eli Manning. He went to some small Mississippi school.
Either way.
Fuck. I kind of threw myself under the bus there. But I'm a goddamn. When he came to the Packers, you know who he completed his first pass to in the NFL, Tyler?
Himself.
You know who he got drafted by?
The Falcons.
Thank you. You're not even a Packers fan, you know this.
Yes.
And then he's talking about you, which, you know, I joke about, right? You root for the home team, the Bucks, but he's calling you out about not being a true Raiders fan.
Well, first off, if I know Dan is trying to stir the pot because he always says Oakland Raiders and never Las Vegas Raiders. Ever since Oakland or the Raiders transferred from Oakland to Las Vegas, he's continued to call them the Oakland Raiders. My constant rebuttal to Dan is, who's your favorite NFL team? I know you don't have one, and I think like 8 years ago or 6 years ago, he said it was the Seattle Seahawks when they were doing really well. I'd love to hear his answer now of who his favorite football team is.
I mean, do you think he could even name like past, like who won MVP last year? Who was in both championship games?
You know those TikToks of the guys that show their girlfriends NFL or NBA players and they say, "Oh, who's this?" or "What team is this?"
Yeah.
We should do that to Dan. Oh, show him this logo and see how many logos he could get correctly.
I don't even think if he was put on the spot, he could name all 32 NFL teams. Or the divisions, for that matter. He's probably worse than Ryan Tannehill. Remember that when he got drafted and, you know, obviously NFL prospect, doesn't even know all the divisions in the NFL?
I mean, can't be quite worse than Marshawn Lynch thinking that Buffalo was in California at one point, or New York City.
Yeah, well, I mean, Marshawn could do no wrong, all right? Let's put that out there. Dude's hilarious. He's instant content. I mean, great football player too, but I don't know. Like, we're not out here questioning his NASCAR opinions. You know what I'm saying?
Although his NASCAR opinions aren't the greatest. You know, he says he's not a 24 fan, but in reality he is. He roots for any driver that's gone into a 24 car. And Jeff Gordon, might I add, isn't even one of the greatest NASCAR drivers of all time. Jimmy Johnson was the best Hendricks Motorsport driver there ever was in NASCAR. You know, women lie, men lie. Stats don't lie, Austin. He's won double the amount of championships as Jeff Gordon and will ever win because, you know, Jeff Gordon had to retire early because Jimmy Johnson put him into retirement.
So I'm not going to lie. I don't even know what that means, 24 car. Like, obviously, I know Jeff Gordon has, like, number 24 in his car. Is that, like, a car for the Hendricks Motorsports, and then just they pick a driver to be in that 24 car?
So, yeah, like, the car is owned by, you know, Hendricks Motorsports or, you know, whatever ownership company. Some drivers even own their own, you know, NASCAR companies where they have their own independent car. The 24 car is under Hendrick Motorsports, and last I knew, Jeff Gordon actually owns that car now. So now he's the official owner of the 24 car. He picks who goes in there. Either way.
Is that normal? Like, so like you're saying, like, if he's a fan of Hendricks Motorsports, is that like a team in the NFL? Like, he doesn't necessarily root for the driver?
I would almost say it's closer to like a division. Like, because you have like 3 to 4 to 5 different drivers in one ownership. But with, you know, some of them, there's only one. Like, I know there's one guy that owns his own car. He's independent. But, I mean, to say, like, you're not a 24, you know, fanboy, come on. We know.
We've seen all the, what do you call them? got a weird ass name. Those little cars they got, the die cast.
Oh, I was gonna say Hot Wheels.
Yeah, it pretty much is a Hot Wheels. I know he's got all the Jeff Gordon ones, and right, he's got like a picture or something of him. I can only imagine the shrine he's got at his house in his room of Jeff Gordon. He's probably got, remember the Hey Arnold, where the chick had the Hey Arnold shrine in her closet? That's probably what he's got at home for Jeff Gordon. But
I mean, in his closet, in the store, he has a little shrine of all of Jeff Gordon's cars. I mean, I think Dan puts off that he knows more about NASCAR than what is to believe. Now, I'm not saying that Danny NASCAR isn't the #1 streaming NASCAR channel on Insane Games TV. But what I am saying is, there might be guys on here that know just a little bit more than him. Just saying.
Wow. All right. So you're saying he may have the #1 stream, but he doesn't have the #1 knowledge about NASCAR.
Oh, 100%. And he'll come at us and he'll be like, well, I know what engine Jeff Gordon won his championship with, and what exhaust it was, and what tires he had, and the nuts and the bolts.
Well, for his sake, hopefully the engine and the new car he just picked up is good enough. Probably not quite, but
to drive back from Connecticut, hopefully the engine doesn't blow up on him.
Yeah.
But
anyway, so we had to get that off our chest. We're not gonna let someone, like I said, drag our names through the mud.
The door's open for a special guest tuner in caller, whatever he said.
Hey, I'll give him the big screen, right? We can put him on that main when we do our window sharing for like the video we just watched. I'll put him on the big screen. He can have all the time in the world. I won't interrupt if he wants to come on.
We could have Tom make him an overlay, and we could have 3 of us. It just might take like 4 months.
Yeah.
Shout out Tom for our logo. I appreciate it, my friend.
Shout out Tom. Does superb work on all the graphics here at the Insane Games TV channel.
I think that one went right over your head.
What?
The new logo.
Oh, the one he was supposed to get months ago? Yeah, we're still waiting on that, Tom. He wasted no time for the one of him and Mike.
Yeah.
No, I'm out here taking pictures of myself doing a fucking Jordan logo.
In the cabin.
In the cabin, for Pete's sake.
Austin looks like he's trying out for JV basketball.
Did I have a headband on or something? I don't even remember.
I think so. It was so long ago.
A lifetime ago. Maybe we'll get it, maybe we won't. But anyways, Tyler, I think we'll segue off that Packers-Dan conversation into a new current Packers conversation. Obviously, there's still the ongoing situation with Aaron Rodgers. Now Davante Adams is getting in the mix. He's tweeting out, like a heartbroken ex-boyfriend of the great white buffalo that got away. He's like, you don't know what you got till it's gone. Now there's reports coming out that if Rodgers doesn't stay with the Packers, his future, which he's I think unrestricted free agent next summer, will be in jeopardy. I'm gonna come out and say right now, if something happens with the Rodgers situation and Davante isn't in green and yellow in the 2022 season, I'm going to be absolutely heartbroken. Because, this is a guy that, like, in my peak fandom, I'd say, when I was just sitting there, like, at work during draft time, and, I'm grinding, Tyler, like, potential prospects. I'm watching their college highlight tapes. I'm like, this guy is going to be a stud. I don't think the people at home can see. They kind of see the corner over there. But I got the Davante Adams signed photograph with his rookie card, the jersey in it. This is my guy. If he walks, I'm gonna have an issue. I'm gonna have some sleepless nights.
If he does walk, there is one team that he would be welcome with open arms, and that's the Las Vegas Raiders, because his former collegiate quarterback, who threw him many dimes, is playing for them.
As of right now.
That's if Rodgers isn't there, too.
But how can you even say that? Because you've been bad-mouthing Derek Carr for the past month. So you're going to use that as a focal point of acquiring Davante Adams?
Let's be fair, though. Derek Carr hasn't had any good wide receivers since Amari Cooper.
Okay.
He hasn't had a wide receiver one on his team since Amari Cooper, and Amari Cooper decided that he was going to drop the most amount of balls in the NFL that year, and Derek Carr was on an MVP season. I'm just saying, you get, 1 or maybe 2 good wide receivers. He had Crabtree and Cooper at one point. Some would say he was MVP that year before he broke his finger. I think he has a lot of potential. If you add Devontae Adams, the best wide receiver in football, it could change a lot of things.
No, I mean, any quarterback is going to be better with a top-tier receiver like Devontae Adams. I just feel like the Raiders' issues go a little bit deeper than just quarterback. I don't know.
You know it's bad when Nelson Aguilar is the best wide receiver on the Raiders. Well, besides Darren Waller.
Yeah, I mean, they got Ruggs, right? I think he could grow into something special. Darren Waller, who Tyler loves to, I don't even know if he's serious half the time, but claim is the best tight end in the league.
Some could say.
Yeah. Well, anyways, Tyler, the other topic I wanted to touch on just popped into my mind, which it's kind of formulating into like a Patriots Deflategate type situation, because across the whole NFL, it's all Packers, it's Aaron Rodgers, it's Devontae Adams, and now you got Adam Thielen out here talking trash saying, oh, Lambeau is the worst stadium in the NFL. They have bleachers. Listen, Adam Thielen, which don't even get me started because the Packers have owned you and the Vikings since you came in the league, so you have no room to talk. Secondly, that is the whole point. Lambeau is the most old school, prestigious stadium. They want to give that old school type vibe. I mean, they don't even have, he's saying they're like bleachers for a high school game. They don't even have real cheerleaders. They use local high school cheerleaders. That's the whole point. They're trying to keep it pristine, old school, and have that vibe going on. I mean, he came on the show, Pat McAfee's show, and he's trying to defend himself, like, backtrack on his statements. He's like, oh, let me say, I preface those comments by saying Lambeau is one of my favorite places to play. It's like Tyler saying, no offense, but, and then, Tyler, no offense, but you're a piece of shit. It's like, you can't say that and then throw something out there that's like completely egregious. You got his wife saying, what, are you crazy? Lambeau's the best stadium. So I think this guy is just talking reckless, trying to get some extra clout for whatever reason.
Well, I mean, there's obviously not a lot going on for the Vikings at the current time being, but I mean, there's always bad blood when it's Vikings Packers. I do think that what he said was taken out of context, though. I could see that being a potential case. I'm not backing him 100%. Lambeau isn't the nicest field, but that's also saying like, oh, but when you play at Fenway or Wrigley, it's a piece of shit. Like that's what the whole purpose of the stadium is. It's to be, a landmark. It's supposed to mean something to one of the first NFL teams ever in the NFL. Right. Had this stadium.
I mean, they're not gonna put like a Bluetooth speaker in the Lincoln Memorial, right? Like they want to keep that rustic.
That'd be kind of dope.
That'd be kind of lit, if you got Lincoln out there, fucking boom, 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 playing some Diplo or something. But
I was thinking like Travis Scott jumping off of the head of Abraham Lincoln.
That'd be pretty sick. I mean, honestly, one day it'll probably happen, but as of right now, it hasn't happened yet. And will Lambeau get a remake? Obviously, at one point. But I mean, that's just like Tyler. It's like a house, pretty much. I mean, if anyone has ever been to Lambeau, I've been 4 times. Subtle brag, if you will, part owner. But anyways, it's literally in the middle of the neighborhood, Tyler. I mean, that one time I went and there was a Monday Night Football game. They had like Randy Moss and whoever was doing the Monday Night Countdown at the time, were literally in someone's backyard filming on the set. Like, there's no other place outside the stadium that's like remotely close other than a residential house or neighborhood. So, I mean, that's just like the feel you get, the whatchamacallit, season tickets. I mean, you're on like 100-year waiting list for those. It's insane, but...
So are you canceling Adam Thielen?
Oh yeah, I if he's in the 10th round for fantasy, I will not touch him. Not to mention with Justin Jefferson, coming to be the star that he is. If he's already is, Pro Bowler in his rookie season. But I mean, I don't even know if this guy's the number 2 option anymore. He's a borderline possession receiver, and I think he has a spot on the team, but I'm not touching him at all from a fantasy standpoint.
Wow. So if he was ever on the Packers, you wouldn't say, "Oh, never mind."
I mean, that's a tough situation because then it like goes back to you got to root for your guys. But unless he comes out and makes a formal apology to the Packers organization and their owners, he's on my shit list.
So you know that's never happening.
I want him to say, ACWeezy, Jeff Cook, I'm sorry for the comments I made. I'm going to join the Packers. It's the best stadium ever. I'm sorry. But yeah, that'll never happen. Even if he is on the Packers, Tyler, I would never buy a jersey, right? I can't say that. But as far as rooting for him, if he's on my team, I want the Packers to win. So, you know, at some level, I have to root for him.
I respect it. I think people need to talk shit more. We need guys like Gary Payton in the NFL and like in the NBA where they're talking shit and
I get that, but like
they're in the pot.
Yeah, but like say something that has some sort of relevance. I mean, when like there's literally when I'm at the Lambeau, a few times I've gone, there's fans of teams that like they aren't even playing that week. Like say the last game I went to, they're playing the Raiders. I mean, I'm walking through doing a stadium tour in the Packers Hall of Fame, and there's like a Giants fan or a Steelers fan. It's like, oh yeah, you know, I was in the area for work or blah blah blah. But I just had to see Lambeau. Like, there's no other stadium where people are like, oh, I'm in town, let's go check out the stadium.
I think Lambeau would probably be the last stadium that I would want to see.
All right, moving on now. Yeah, well, you're just a little cocksucker, and you always like to get me going. So I don't even I take everything you say these days with a grain of salt.
1 out of 10, Allegiant Stadium. How nice is it?
Oh, I mean, it's beautiful. I'm not even gonna.
Got it.
No, I can't give it a 10. I'd say a solid 8.9. I mean, the thing
What's Lambeau?
Like what are we grading it on? Like just how nice and new it is? Because yeah, obviously the Raiders stadium would be better.
Like,
but if we're just talking about everything into consideration, the history of it, how long it's been there, all the amenities. I mean, yeah, if you want to go, you know, get a lap dance while you're watching a Raiders game, you know, football, go to Allegiant. But if you want to feel like you're watching Vince Lombardi back in the day at the Ice Bowl and get that real, legitimate football experience, you're gonna go to Lambeau. 10 out of 10.
Eating poutine?
Eating what?
Poutine?
That's Canadian. That's French. Bratwurst, baby.
They have that in Wisconsin. It's close enough.
Cheese curds. Cheese curds and bratwurst.
Those are
That's
the
what you
same
get.
thing.
No, poutine is fries with gravy.
Okay. I'd rather have poutine than cheese curds.
Oh, me too, but that's a different conversation.
I think you could get poutine at Allegiant, but that's neither here nor there. Never been. I'm just saying.
You get poutine and, you know,
yeah.
The other thing that sounds like poutine. I'm not going to say it right now, but so let's segue, Tyler. We talked Dan. We talked football, which right now it's all Packers. Of course you squeezed in the Raiders there with your claim, which didn't really make much sense.
All right, besides Lambeau and Allegiant, who has the nicest stadium?
I mean, if we're talking, like, I don't know what your definition of nice is. Like
if you had to play in the NFL and you had to play for one team based off their stadium, who would it be?
Besides the Packers?
Yes.
I don't know. I mean, Hard Rock's cool, right? They got the pools there. You can have a swim up bar and look at chicks in bikinis while you're watching a Fins game. I always personally liked Lucas Oil. I thought that was a pretty dope layout, what they got going there. I mean, the Rams Chargers Stadium, I haven't really seen pictures of that too much, but that's pretty nice.
Well, how far do you live from there now?
An hour.
Oh.
I mean, I'll probably definitely end up going to a game at some point this season. Unfortunately, the Packers don't play them, but...
See, I want to say something cool like Soldier Field, but I would never want to play in, like, freezing below temperatures. I would say Tampa, but their stadium's not that nice. Um, if I had to play for one team based off their stadium, probably the Niners.
Yeah. Well, they
They're
just
right
built
on.
they just built one, right?
Well, yeah, but I'm talking about the old one, Levi. I
Levi.
mean, they were right on the water.
Yeah, that was a good one for sure.
Definitely not the old school Raiders one where you get baseball burn.
So that was cool though, man. I mean, of course, as a player, I feel like that'd be kind of shitty to play on. I mean, it feels like you're sliding into second base when you're running a stretch play, but I mean, you didn't see that. That was the only thing of its kind for a long time.
I was watching too many guys like they were wearing like turf tape or like long sleeves in Oakland. It was 80 degrees out, but they just did not want to get that sand burn.
Bro, they missed a huge opportunity. How dope would it have been if they went out there in like athletic inspired uniforms or like baseball, right? That would have been pretty sick.
Really, you're just trying to get another team to field green and yellow.
I mean, that's why I got the A's hat back in the day because it had an A on it for Austin and it had the same colors as the Packers.
Yeah,
It was a
sure.
no-brainer. But all right, we talked my team. Let's talk your team, Tyler, and the rest of the NBA. Playoffs are coming up. I think we got like 4 games left. Do you want me to share the screen so we can look at the standings together?
Yes, sir.
All right. Right now, Eastern Conference looks like they're gonna get the 2 seed, right? I think they already clinched that, right? 3 games back. Like I said, I think there's like 4 games left. So unless something crazy happens that I'm unaware of, I think they're locked into that 2 seed. So,
Well, I mean, if they lose and the Bucks win, because they're only a half game up on the Bucks.
oh, right, yep. So how are we feeling as a Nets fan? Harden is still out, if I'm not mistaken.
I mean, right now I feel pretty good. We came off of a comeback win against the Nuggets on Saturday. That was a big win for us, especially I think we were off 5-game or 4-game losing streak. Right now, we're facing the Cavs once, the Bulls twice, and who else? I forget who else we're facing. Oh, the Kings. So we got, a lot of bottom feeders for the last 4 games. So I think we easily win those last 4 games. Oh, San Antonio, my bad.
Yeah. I mean, that should be 4 wins right there, you'd think.
Should be 4 wins. We win those 4. I doubt we're going to get the 1 seed. And honestly, I'm not sure if I really want the 1 seed. We'll stick with the 2 seed. I do think that the playing games are going to be very fun to watch, though. I would probably be rooting for, either the how does it go? How does the 2 seed play out in the playing games?
Oh yeah. So the first time I looked at the graphic of it, I thought it was just 7-8 play, and the winner of that is the 7 seed, and then the winner of the 9-10 is the 8 seed. But it was brought to my attention that the winner of the 7-8 is the 7 seed, and then the loser of 7-8 plays the winner of the 9-10. Which, I don't know. We've talked about it in the past, Tyler. You and I are on the same page. We love what Adam Silver has done with the NBA, how they've been innovative. They've tried new things. Some of it's good, some of it's bad. I personally do not like this plan. I would more so rather see more of like a college basketball type tournament where you just take the top 16 teams, no matter what conference. Because, I mean, you look at it right now, I mean, the Lakers would be, number 5 here. I don't think any of these 7 through 10 in the East would be in the playoffs right now. But I just don't understand. I mean, like LeBron's voiced his disapproval for it. Well, clearly, because they're potentially, as of right now, in the play-in game, so he's going to have an extra game to win, which, he's going to come back, put his Superman cape on, tape that ankle up, and go to work. But I just don't understand. It's like you put in all the time throughout the season to get to this point. Why are you just bailing teams out? Like, that just doesn't make sense to me.
I think a lot of it has to do with them wanting, fans not to feel like, oh, for instance, the Pacers and Wizards were coming on hot, and maybe the Hornets had a really good first half of the season. Do they really feel like they're a stronger team than the Wizards right now? Because a lot of teams don't formulate a chemistry or a bond with each other until later on in the season. And honestly, I mean, the 7 through 10 seeds in the East is very interesting because, the Celtics were in the conference finals last year. The Hornets are a hot team with LaMelo Ball back. Wizards with Beal and Russell Westbrook, probably the scariest duo, like you said in the past. And then the Pacers, who, are a very good team. They very underrated. Caress LeVert playing out of his mind right now. So I feel like what it does is it doesn't add that what if factor. But I mean, I do see your point. I do understand that if you're a good team and you're in the playoffs, then you should, be a 1 through 8 seed.
I mean, just because I have nothing else to refer to, like talking about college basketball, they only play around 30 games in a season. So it's like, yeah, it may take a team a little bit to get going, and then you see that come tournament time, right? They win their conference tournament. They're a Cinderella team. They come in with the hot hand. But if you're talking an NBA season, I mean, they play what? I don't know if they're still playing like 82 games a season. You have plenty of time to get your engine started and get the ball rolling. I mean, there should be no extra play-in game to bail a team out that, like, injuries happen. That's part of the game. This isn't 2K, Tyler, where you take injuries off and you give these guys an extra game to make up for the time that they missed. Or, I don't know. I just don't agree with it. But with that being said, agreeing with you, I mean, we got some good playing games. The Celtics, who, I mean, there's still time. I don't think they will climb up there into that 6th seed.
Well, I mean, the Celtics just lost Jaylen Brown today. As you can see on the right of that screen. Yeah. They said that he's going to be out for the rest of the season. So that's going to be a hindrance on the Celtics a little bit. I mean, how much more does Jason Tatum have to do for them to win? But, I mean, looking at it from the Nets perspective, as a Nets fan, like I said, our last 4 games, kind of easy wins, I would say. Maybe minus the San Antonio Spurs. But James Harden coming back during the playoffs. I can already see it now. KD playing out of his mind. Kyrie playing out of his mind. The biggest thing, and I've been saying this all season, I feel like, is can we stop allowing teams to score, 120 points a game? It's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, well, I mean,
look at that.
The thing is, too, what's that?
1 through 8 in the East. The Nets have the highest offensive points allowed per game.
Opponents 114. Yeah, I mean they're just running a track meet up and down the floor, bucket after bucket. But where was I going with this? I forget. But anyways, what I was saying earlier, you got the Celtics, right? You got the Hornets, LaMelo Ball, Terry Rozier's been playing good ball. He just dropped a 40 piece last night. The Wizards, which, I mean, they have Brody and Beal. Is Beal still out? I'm not sure.
No, he's been playing.
I mean, Westbrook, which we could get in that conversation, he's tied for Oscar Robertson, right? Most triple-doubles all time. He's averaging like 25, 15, and 15. The Pacers are good. And then on the Western side, you got the Lakers with LeBron, AD. Looks like they're going to be playing Steph and the Warriors, John Morant and the Grizzlies, a younger San Antonio Spurs team. I mean, there's a lot of talent in these playing games. But if you're, the Nets, Sixers, any, Jazz, Suns, a lot of these higher teams, you're going to be potentially playing a team that played 2 extra games while you had, a week to rest up. I just feel like that creates a whole different dynamic and disadvantage.
I like the playing game aspect. I do. I think the one way that I would tweak it is instead of having 4 different teams in a playing game, I would have a playing game for, maybe the 8 seed, because there's always a disparity between the 8 and 9 seed. There's always like a half game or a game and a half. Have a playing game with just one team, who's going to be the playing game to face the number 1 seed. Kind of like that Cinderella story that we saw this year with UCLA. They were a playing game. They went all the way to the Final Four because they were a good team and they didn't have a really good season. So have it between the 8 and 9, not 4 different teams, and have it all up in the air of who's going to be facing who.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. Like you said, for college basketball, they only have that one game between the playing teams. That doesn't give as much time off.
I mean, they have
less
one game
opportunity for injury
per region, which makes a lot of sense when you're having 64 teams.
Right. But I mean, we're looking at a 2, 3, I don't know how they're gonna space out the games, but like multiple day ordeal where all these other teams get that much extra time to rehab, get more practice in, and as a lower seed going up against the higher seed who already has the advantage, right? You're just gonna be coming in winded pretty much, and you're already at a disadvantage.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. And I honestly think that's why you see the Nets have a different rotation every night, is because they're not only trying to find, different players, get them into the groove, but they're also trying to rest them, which they found is very successful in the NBA. But I mean, this playoffs is going to be interesting. We only have a week until it, and I'm kind of excited to see how this playing game works, just because we're not used to it, and it's brand new to basketball fans.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see. I could love every second of it and be eating my words, probably be 2 weeks from now.
I mean, I know your ass is going to be happy when like it's the Pacers versus the, Brooklyn Nets or something like that. Like the Pacers upset the Celtics, or like, the Grizzlies upset the Lakers, and the Lakers are no longer, in playoff contention. Like, I know I would be thrilled. I think that's interesting, but we're going to probably see exactly what's going to happen is the Lakers are going to get in, maybe the Golden State or Memphis is going to get in, and then you're going to see the Celtics with either Charlotte or Washington, no huge upsets, and, LeBron's going to go savage mode on us.
Hey, like I said, I'm only an hour south of LA, Tyler. I might have to go catch a little playoff action there.
Yeah, pay $500 a ticket.
No, I'd scalp it off someone I'll be hanging on the rafters. I won't even be in the nosebleeds. I'll be tied with like a rock climbing get up to the rafters up there. But what do you think? Should we make our picks for the playoffs? Who we think's gonna win, or should we save that till we get to the playoff time? Maybe next week's episode.
Yeah, save it for next week.
All right, we'll save that.
I think a lot's going to change, too. These rankings are going to change a little bit. There's a lot of teams that are only a half game up or a game up. So, we could see some things change.
Yeah, I'm with that. One thing I feel like we should be able to talk about this week, which, we are closing the end of the regular season. We got the MVP race right now. This is based off Basketball Reference. The top candidates right now, Jokic is sitting there at number 1, Embiid, Giannis, Kawhi, Luka, Jimmy, Rudy, Dame, Kyrie Irving, and Donovan Mitchell. Who do you think runs away with this? Is there a clear-cut winner? Do you give it to one team over the other one player over the other because of how their team is performing?
I mean, I look at this list and I think it's egregious. I mean, you have a guy that's not even on this list that should be the MVP in the NBA this year, just purely based off of what he's doing every night, trying to keep a sub 250 team, in playoff contention. And that's Russell Westbrook. Like you said, guy's averaging a triple-double, has the most triple-doubles in NBA history in a season. Maybe not even halfway through his NBA career and already beating Oscar Robertson for most triple-doubles, which a lot of people, including myself, never thought that would have been a record that would have been broken. And, he's only like 30, if that.
Yeah.
And he's not even a candidate, not even top 10 in the MVP race, which is just insane to me. The guy has better stats than all these guys combined, and I think he is the true MVP this year.
So, I mean, every person on this list, Tyler, their team has a winning record. I'm not sure.
Right.
What are the Wizards sitting at? 32 and 36.
Which was way worse at the beginning of the season, might I add.
Oh, 100%. Do you think there are, probably a rhetorical question, but some sort of politics that go into this that say, unless you're having, which hard to argue with, saying Russell Westbrook isn't having an all-time season, but do you think there is something that goes into it if the team isn't performing? Some
See,
sort of aspect?
I think that's such a old school way of thinking in the NBA nowadays, because back in the day, like an AI or, like a Shaq when he was with the Magic, or, just they were the only guys on their team. Without that guy, that team would be shit. They would be, lucky to win 10% of their games. But nowadays you have so many guys, especially if you look at the MVP list, Kawhi Leonard, he has Paul George, who is an MVP candidate. Nikola Jokic had Jamal Murray for most of the year, who's an MVP candidate. You have two guys from Utah, Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert. I mean, I just feel like in Brooklyn, I mean, you have Kyrie, KD, you have all the MVPs over the past 5 years. So I just feel like that's such an old school way of thinking. I think they should do it purely based off of stats and what you bring to the table. And, I think Russell Westbrook statistically is the MVP for this year's NBA all around.
I mean, you look at it right now, he's averaging easily a triple-double on the season. 11.6 rebounds, 11.5 assists, 22 points. I was just looking at a couple of these other things. Field goal percentage on par with his career. 3-point percentage. It's up for his career, but shooting like 30%, not great. What else was I looking at? Anyways, I mean that's a good point, Tyler, that you brought that up. I wasn't thinking him. One guy that I was thinking of, Julius Randle. I mean, to not even be on that top 10 candidate list, which again, this is off Basketball Reference. Who knows what who is it? It's all like the writers, right? Some media guys who around the league who vote on it. But I mean, to take the New York Knicks franchise and turn it around, and I mean, look at. He's playing pretty much the whole game. This guy doesn't sit out. 37.2 minutes per game, out of 40. 23.9 points. I was looking earlier. I mean, he's got more assists than like Kawhi. What are these assists? More assists than Kawhi.
Same amount.
Rudy, obviously, more than Donovan Mitchell. I mean, his total rebounds, 10.3. I mean, he's averaging a double-double. He's got more rebounds than Kawhi, Luka, Jimmy Butler, like all these guys. And to have them being on a winning team, especially the New York Knicks, Tyler, who people somehow bring their name into the conversation even if they're having a terrible year. I just feel like he got snubbed.
Well, I know for a fact 100% probably going to win Most Improved Player, deservedly so, but I think he is definitely deserved to be on this list, 100%. I really don't think that if I had to take some guys off this list, definitely Rudy Gobert. I don't even think he's the second best player on that team. On some nights, he doesn't even show up. Yeah, he gets 13 rebounds a game, but he doesn't really do much besides defensively and whatnot. And then I would take off Jimmy Butler. I feel a lot of it, like you said, has to do with politics. I mean, they usually go off of fan favorites and whatnot. Like, granted, Giannis and Joel Embiid and Nikola Jokic, they're all having great years, out of their mind. But, I mean, to snub guys like you said, Julius Randle, like I said, Russell Westbrook, I just feel like it doesn't add disparity to the league. You just see the same guys year in, year out with, a sprinkle of some other guys depending on if they're having like a crazy season.
Yeah. I mean, you look at this stuff too. Joel Embiid, he's only got 49 games played. I mean, you got Kyrie up there. You look at the probability. Kyrie probably wasn't really in the conversation. They just threw him up here for top 10. He's only got, 51.
Jimmy Butler has 50.
Jimmy Butler. Kawhi has 50. Giannis. I mean, you look at Jokic, 68 games played, 68 games started. I mean, the winning percentage, I think he's like top 3 up there. I don't know. I feel like he just gets it by default, Tyler. It was kind of a poor year. I'm not sure if the timing of the season right after the bubble impacted anyone. I mean, if LeBron plays a full season, we're probably throwing his name in the mix for, at least top 3, top 5. But I don't know.
I mean, another guy that I think should be talked about, who is never talked about, Devin Booker. I mean, Phoenix Suns, they're in second place in the West. First time since, Steve Nash was there when he won MVP. Devin Booker's playing out of his mind. You don't see him taking place of, Donovan Mitchell or Rudy Gobert or Dame Lillard or even Kyrie. I think there's guys that should be on this list that are just playing, way better seasons, but because they're not, fan favorites, international superstars, so on and so forth, they're not on this list.
I mean, that's very true. You and I
I would say the No Look podcast is probably the #1 fan group of Devin Booker. Not only does he, date porn stars and supermodels, but, he's a fucking baller.
He's streaming COD the other day with a bunch of big name guys, Cloaksy, Tim the Tat Man, Nick Merckx. But yeah, the fact of that too, Tyler, everyone's given Chris Paul this praise, which definitely had a huge impact on this team. But it's like they're forgetting that Devin Booker is the franchise guy that they brought in a team around. I mean, Chris Paul enhances Devin and the team's play overall, but he's not the knight in shining armor. There was already a stud there in Phoenix. He's definitely getting the small market treatment like Dame Lillard. Kind of how I feel like KD was getting a little bit in Oklahoma City. But I mean, another thing too, Tyler, Steph Curry, he just had like 103s in a month.
He's also 83s away from breaking Ray Allen's record.
Insane. I mean,
#1 all time, and deservedly so. I think he's the best shooter in NBA history, hands down. And all the haters, in the comments on Instagram, all they were saying was, "Oh, these guys played 2 different styles of game." Yeah, no shit. Records are meant to be broken. Steph Curry is by far the greatest shooter of all time. He pulls up and shoots 23s a game, but he also makes like 10.
Right.
So
I mean, the numbers, the total threes made, the percentage, the difficulty. If you want to get the sports science guys back here, I'm not sure if they still do that. I thought that was cool. Remember when they did that? I mean, it was probably fabricated. The way they had it set up. The force of James Harrison's stiff arm move to get past the blockers, that of a Mack truck. It's like, where are you getting these numbers from, buddy guy? I don't know.
In terms of Ray Allen's record, I think that's going to be broken by not only Steph, not only Clay, a plethora of guys, because the NBA has changed. And I even think Ray Allen, he has one of the nicest jump shots of all time. If he was playing in this time frame in his prime, he would break his record by double, I would feel like.
Yeah, that's probably don't have time to get in that whole conversation, but you were saying you didn't think Oscar Robertson's triple-double record would be broken. This is a higher scoring, faster paced game in today's game, right? Not as much of a traditional big man, right? You're seeing a lot of smaller, quicker lineups. So there's a lot more opportunities. And then from the other side of it, people saying, oh, such and such, like Shaq wouldn't be able to play in today's game. Or like, Bill Russell, a lot of those guys, Wilt, Dr. J. They were athletes. That was just, they played the style of game that they knew when it was. If they were coming up in today's day and age, they would have done more dribbling and shooting exercises. I guarantee you Shaq would be a better free throw shooter. If that was something that he's like, all right, Shaq, to stretch the floor, you're going to have to be a, efficient enough shooter. So he would have worked on that a little more. Instead, he was just putting on weight and bodying dudes, breaking backboards. So, because that's all he had to do, and he was dominant at it. So why do you have to do anything else?
I think there's one record that will never be broken, and that's the points. Well, I just think that's going to be the hardest record to break. And the only reason I say that is because when Wilt did it.
Well, wait, hold on, sorry. I might be messing you up. You're talking about the Wilt 100 or the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar all-time points?
No, Wilt 100.
Oh yeah, no shot, no shot.
I just think, he was going against dudes my height, and he was like 7'1", and getting 55 rebounds a game and putting him back up, easy. I do think Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's is gonna be very hard to break, and I'm looking at the stats, Austin. I don't even think LeBron might be able to even break it. He's getting pretty close up there in age. I don't know. He's 3,000 points away.
I don't know. We'll see what happens. I mean, if he's definitely trying to, play with Bronny, get the Ken Griffey Jr. treatment, playing with your son in the professional sport. He's got at least, 3 more years to do that, if not more. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, there's no shot. I mean, he was playing against, like you said, lesser athletes. I mean, I don't even know if they were full-time NBA players at that point, Tyler. They probably were shoemakers Monday to Friday, and then they'd lace up on the weekend, and you got Wilt over here just getting a million rebounds and looking like he's playing on a Nerf hoop or something.
Putting his balls in their face and then putting them down their wives after the game.
Oh, wasn't that? Yeah. Because there's like a J. Cole line, right? He said he had sex with like tens of thousands of women or something.
Well, no, he admitted it on Howard Stern.
Yeah, I mean, that's just
YouTube.
absurd.
I watched on YouTube one day. Dude was like the coolest cat out there. 100 points in the game. Kobe almost didn't. I don't think if Kobe can't do it, I don't think anybody can.
No. Yeah, 100 points in the game. 100 women in a night. Will is definitely a legend. Tyler, one thing we forgot to mention that I just wanted to touch on. We got about 5 minutes left. Is Dan even going to be back in time? Is he still driving back from Connecticut?
I don't know. Let's get him on the phone.
Hello. But Tim Tebow, right? Jaguars signed him to the active roster, I believe. He's going to try out as a tight end. I don't know how this happens. Obviously, guys like that, he's been away from the game for a while. He's been doing the broadcaster thing. I'm sure he stayed in shape. But in shape and football shape are two completely different things. I'm not sure if there's like an Urban Meyer relationship.
Hello? Can I help you?
Are you playing Danny NASCAR? Are you driving Danny NASCAR back from Connecticut?
No, I'm back already.
Oh, okay. Anything to say to Austin?
Nope, I'll address it on the Danny NASCAR.
All right, sounds good.
Bye.
Oh, he said he wants to be a call-in guest speaker, and he's got nothing to say.
He wants to be a call-in guest keynote speaker.
Yeah. And he wants to wait where he's in his safe environment on his Danny NASCAR. He's got Mike with him to back him up.
Shout out Mike, by the way, having our backs.
Yeah, Mike keeps it 100 no matter what, so shout out to him. Anything else? What do you think about Tebow?
I do think it's a bit of an attention grab, for the Jags. Obviously, they have nothing to lose. I think him coming back to Urban Meyer, that's pretty dope. I do think he'll be missing the quarterback's room though with Trevor Lawrence. That's for sure.
No, 100%.
He'll be like outside the locker room. He's be like, "Hey Trev, what'd you guys talk about?
Yeah.
Oh, don't forget to read the Bible tonight."
Yeah, right. God bless you. Do you think there's any packages that they're gonna try to throw in, maybe to get him involved in the passing game, some trickery?
I mean, I could see it. End around with the tight end, throw back to, whoever. Trevor Lawrence can run. I mean, throw it back to him. Or do the double throw where you hand it off to Tebow, throw back to Lawrence down the field. I mean,
There's thinking, options, yeah.
I'm thinking like Madden the yard.
The yard, right, yeah. Got the Ham Hocks out there doing the triple throwback lateral move. All right. We almost hit it perfectly here. 59. We won't go over. Danny NASCAR up next. Looks like he's going to have a rebuttal to our rebuttal. I guess he feels some type of way, Tyler. So this might be an ongoing thing.
I mean, if there's something that has to be said, we'll rebuttal or address it on the Thirsty Thursday. That's if Danny NASCAR doesn't take up another 3 hours right before Austin's time slot.
Yeah, right. I mean, shit, he's got to be tired, man. He's going to be falling asleep at the wheel racing for that long.
I told him he needs to come up. You know how they have Mario Kart where the drinking game? They need to do that with the NASCAR game. Drinking and driving.
Well, that probably isn't the best name for it, but I mean,
Well, that's what they call it.
Dan doesn't even drink though, so how's that gonna work?
Ah, that's true. He can have He can have Diet Pepsi.
Yeah, look at his Diet Pepsi going, just like crack it, maybe put it in a koozie. They don't know what he's doing.
Yeah.
But all right, yep, that's it for the No Look Podcast. Danny NASCAR up right now. I don't know, might have to listen, Tyler, see what he's got to say.
I'm definitely tuning in.
And then after that, I'll be back at my now normal later time for Monday Night Gaming. Let me think about it. 11 EST, right? Yeah, that makes sense. 8 EST. It's all messed up because like sometimes I'll think about, you know, the stream or you guys, what time it is at home, and then I'm like, oh wait, no, that's Eastern time. I don't know. I gotta get used to it.
Someday,
somehow. Danny NASCAR. Until next time.
love you.
Peace.